I did not always used to have this nice big kitchen. In fact,
hello, I'm Shayla and I have a family of 8. I have been a from scratch cook for over 33 years, and so today I'm going to share with you about 20 things that you really don't need in your kitchen.
My kitchens in times past were, well, let's just say they were interesting. Through the years, there are quite a few things that some of them I've bought, but some of them I've only seen and thought, that looks interesting, but I don't know. So I'm gonna give you a list today of about 20 things that a lot of people think they need for their kitchen that you don't need. So the very first thing on the list is a single-use avocado slicer. I don't think I have an avocado in the house. I wish I did right now so I could show you how to do this, but to cut an avocado is the easiest thing. You literally just take your avocado, let's pretend this, well, how about, no, this looks more like an avocado. You take your avocado, you slice it all the way around in half, you pull it apart, and then you've got your pit. Lay it down. You take your knife, it needs to be sharp, and you just whack the pit, take it, and then twist it out, just like that. Super easy. To cut it, all you need is a spoon. You just hold your avocado. Once again, we're gonna pretend that this potato is an avocado. Okay, so we've got our avocado, it's cut in half. You hold your avocado and you just slice it with your spoon. Try it. It works perfectly, it gives you the perfect little slices, and then all you have to do is take it and just scoop it out, and you've got your avocado all sliced up. I've done that in front of some friends, and they were quite blown away by the technique, and it's very simple. Another thing that I think I bought one once, and it just ended up being kitchen clutter, is a banana hanger. You don't need a banana hanger, just leave them on your counter. Or better yet, as they start to ripen, put them in your fridge so they last longer. By the way, if your bananas do start going bad, what you want to do with them is you want to slice them and freeze them for smoothies. The next one is an electric can opener. So do you remember when blogging was a much bigger deal than it is now? Well, I read in a blog once that it was one of those articles like 15 things adults never have in their kitchen. So basically, if you have these things in your kitchen, you need to grow up and be an adult and get the real thing. It's like, what a way to guilt people or make shame people into buying something. Anyways, it was electric can openers. And so I was like, you know what? Yeah, like everybody else around me has electric can openers, and I'm 35 and I'm really behind here. I'm embarrassed. I ran out, got an electric can opener because I didn't want to be childish. Well, the dang thing didn't last more than a year. Nothing you buy at traditional stores is made to last for a from-scratch cook with a large family. You got to take into account a from-scratch cook with a large family is basically like an industrial chef. She is making hundreds of meals all week long, okay? You need industrial things. So what I have found is never go get something like that. It didn't last. It wore out within no time. Just long enough probably for the warranty to expire. Yeah. So I learned from that, just go for the manual hand crank can openers, but they do fall apart quickly too, especially if you are using them a lot, like a large family that cooks from scratch would. So what I found is industrial. Look for industrial restaurant stores where you can go in and you can buy something that is made to be used thousands and thousands of times. And that way, it might cost you a little bit more upfront, but you're gonna be saving a lot of money in the long run because you're not gonna have to be replacing it all the time. This is not next on my list. Maybe we'll put this at the end. I might move this to like 21 things. Stop buying cheap crap for your kitchen, especially if you're a from scratch cook, especially if you have a large family. Just stop buying cheap stuff because you'll end up spending more money in the long run by replacing it all the time.
We're going to break for a moment while I tell you about one of my most favorite brands to work with because they're delicious and nutritious. And this is the sponsor who made today's video possible.
The end of spring and the beginning of summer is a really high production time here on our mountain homestead. There is just so much more going on. More work outside, more long days, more everything. And I have noticed in this season of life, especially being in midlife, one of the hardest things for me has been consistently getting enough protein in my day. It's just so hard. I would do okay for a while, but then realized I was completely falling short again. And honestly, that's been just one of my ongoing struggles lately with nutrition. I'm just not getting enough nutrition, period. But all of that has started to shift for me when I found Lineage. Did you hear about their protein bars? They sold out in the first 4 days. Now, once you hear what they're made of, I think you'll understand why. Each bar has 20 grams of grass-fed whey and collagen protein, under 200 calories, and it is made with real food ingredients like raw honey, coconut nectar, no seed oils, no sugar, alcohols, no gums or fillers, and they don't taste anything like a regular protein bar. I think regular protein bars are just, I can't choke them down, but these are absolutely delicious. I thoroughly enjoy these. But I will say, I am a jerky girl, and my favorite are the Lineage meat sticks. Now these are high in not only protein, but beef organs. So if you haven't researched any of that and the value of beef organs yet for women's nutrition, you've got to look it up. A lot of people might be a little put off by the sound of the beef liver and heart that is in these. You don't taste the liver. They don't have a liver flavor at all. I am not kidding you guys. I crave these. They are that delicious. So good. Now, I really love having both the meat sticks and the bars on hand because they eliminate the stress of having to make food decisions, and they save me so much time. Plus, they meet my nutritional needs, and they are all so tasty. It's one of those small changes that actually helped me stay consistent during a very full season of my life. So check them out today. Use my link to get 15% off, which is a special discount only for this community. And remember, they have a 100% money back guarantee, so it's risk-free.
So do your future self a favor and try them today. I do not think you'll be sorry.
Okay, another thing that I've never gotten into, specialty egg cookers. Why? You already have a saucepan. Just why buy a bunch of gadgets that are going to do the same thing as your saucepan in a saucepan of water? Another thing that I don't recommend buying is a popcorn maker. Well, I take that back. I do think it would be really nice to have one of those big, huge popcorn makers for our larger family, because when we do popcorn, it's not a small endeavor, and we end up just standing at the stove for a very long time. So that is something to think about. So I guess what I'm saying is don't buy a little popcorn maker, buy a big, huge one if you're gonna, no, that's not what I'm saying. But popcorn makers, you can use your stovetop, and it makes better tasting popcorn anyway, so. Number 6 on the list is mini waffle makers. Again, similar to the egg maker, just why? You know, you can even get a large waffle maker now that have those inserts where you can make mini ones. Okay, we have one of those. I can see that. The kids think that's fun. And it is nice to have that because it makes 4 mini waffles at a time instead of like one individual one. And it is nice to have the small mini waffles because they break apart and you can freeze them easier, I guess. And you can do that with any kind of waffle anyway. So yeah, just the small mini waffle makers are basically just a waste of money. Number 7 on the list is all of these fancy schmancy Keurig coffee device maker things. I don't even know what they're called. I've never gotten into that. I never will get into that. I don't even have a coffee pot. The reason I don't have a coffee pot is because I used to have coffee pots. One time I found one of ours was growing this most awful, disgusting, slimy stuff on the inside, and I realized that they all do that. So I don't do that anymore. Let me show you what I use. We use one of these for our coffee. They are about $20. I love it. This one, I don't know if I got it on Amazon or Walmart. My husband doesn't like the grit. I don't care about that. So he likes to put an additional filter in his, but these are wonderful for coffee. I think it makes better tasting coffee. So we just make our coffee in one of these, and we never have to replace a coffee pot. We've only had to replace one of these over the last maybe 7 years. The first one we bought broke, and we've had this one for quite some time now. So we just make our coffee, and then we put it in a thermos. Here's my coffee thermos. My husband has his own. Number 8 is pre-cut fruit. You're essentially paying somebody to do something that would take you 5 minutes to do, and essentially all you're doing is paying for them to use a knife. Number 9 is specialty salad dressing bottles. Okay, I do have one. I have one from Pampered Chef, and I do like it because, is it around here? I don't know where it is. I think the kids must use, I need to make more salad dressing. I like it because it has a whisk on the inside. It's got a built-in whisk, and it's got the recipe on the outside. So if I'm in a hurry to make salad dressing, it's nice to have because I can make it really quickly, not have to look up a recipe. It's all right there. And it's the old pampered chef, and it's the kind that, it's gotta be around here somewhere. All right, never mind, we can't find it. I even called all the kids in and we can't find it. This happens all the time. Anyways, the salad dressing bottle's on. And I'll show you, this is the only kind of salad dressing bottle I recommend getting because it's the only kind I've ever used. But all other kinds, they're just a waste of money, especially when you consider for a salad dressing bottle. There are all kinds of sauces you can buy that come in glass bottles and they got good lids, and you can just wash them and reuse them for salad dressing. They're pretty, they're attractive, they look all nice and polished. So just don't go buy them when you could just recycle them and use ones that you bought with food in them already and bought for free. Also, a mason jar works just fine. And you can get recaps from Azure Standard. So you can get these recap bottles or lids from Azure Standard. See? They're great for pouring. So you don't need to go buy fancy ones. You can just get mason jars that can be used for anything. It's just a waste of money to buy specialized salad dressing bottles. Number 10, some people are not gonna like me for this. Bread machines. Bread machines are just, you don't need it. You really don't need it. It's not that hard to make bread. I'm not kidding. Making bread is really an easy thing to do. And I know that if you are not good at making bread or have tried and flopped, the thought of trying again is intimidating. You don't want to waste food. I get it. But making bread is a skill worth learning. And once you do it, once you get the hang of it, you'll be like, oh, that was easy. So I recommend learning. And if you want to know sourdough bread baking, by the way, I do have a course on Patreon. You can join and take the course for just $5 a month. Number 11 is bagged shredded cheese. Half the people that buy it don't even realize all the additives put on it to keep it apart, to keep it shredded and from melting back together in the bag. There are so many things on it, and some of those things can, cause some people some issues with cheese. So just buy the bricks and grate it yourself. Number 12 is the disposable paper towels, but also the paper towels that are like reusable, the reusable paper towels. Somebody commented and left the funniest comment that I had never thought of. I wish I could find the comment again. If you are watching this and you're the one that made that comment, that you're the kind of person I want to hang out with. You are very funny. I laughed and laughed. The comment went something like this. They were talking about how, like this wildfire that started over reusable paper towels. And she's like, oh, so this generation just discovered rags. Just use rags. Just use rags. You don't need paper towels. You don't need disposable paper towels either. Just use rags. So what I like to do is I go to the store and I'll find the cheaper rags and I'll buy just a whole bunch at a time. And yeah, we have to replace them like once a year, but still, I'm talking, like $15 for a big stack of rags versus spending about that much per month on paper towels. We do use paper towels, by the way. We use them for the things that we would have to throw the rag away for after using it. So we do use paper towels, but we use them very limited because we use the rags. Okay, so some other things, and these are things that I used to have, things like this. I didn't have all of these. I'm just gonna give you some ideas of things I used to have, but that I learned when we had very small kitchens that didn't fit and I didn't need them and I needed to pare down. So some of the things are single-use gadgets like the egg yolk separators, that's one. Apple corer, that's another. Strawberry hullers, I've never even had one of those, but I've heard of them. Herb scissors, garlic peelers, although I will say there are some garlic peelers that I've had in times past that were actually quite handy. Another thing that I never got into was the fancy water flavor packets. They just seemed like additional unnecessary chemicals and sugar to me. So I never got into that, and I just don't recommend. If you want flavored water, get a quart of water or however much you're gonna drink and put some berries in it, put some cucumber slices in it, put some lemon slices in it. And that flavor your water yourself naturally with healthy things. Okay, here's another one. If you have a convection oven, you don't need an air fryer too. You just don't. Another one would be plastic food storage containers in these big, massive sets. They're not gonna last very long. They never last very long. Half of the containers end up not being used. So I recommend instead the Snapware ones, the glass bottom with the plastic tops. I find those to be far more usable since you can actually put your dish into the container and then pop it into the oven when you want to go heat it up, you don't have to re-put it into something else and dirtying a whole bunch of dishes. You can just put it right in. So that's what I recommend for storing food. I don't recommend getting expensive, complicated knife block sets, because one chef knife, a good chef knife, and maybe a paring knife, and then one more in-between knife are really all you need. They're all I use. I use this for almost everything. Another thing I do not recommend buying are all of these snack packs. Not even the healthy snack packs. Just buy it in a bulk, buy it in a big bag, repackage it yourself if you need to. Most people won't need to. But I like to keep our chips after I buy the chips, like a big bag of tortilla chips, I'll put them in a large container to keep them nice and fresh. But you don't need individual sack packs, it's just more expense. Really think about it before you purchase matching kitchen decor and trending sets. You're probably, when I was young, I heard this advice once, just buy neutrals. If you buy neutrals, it's gonna go with everything. And don't buy the sets because you're gonna tire of them quickly. And I think people do tire of them quickly. When I have bought things like that before, I did phase out of it about a year and a half. So now I only buy quality, even if I have to spend a little more and save up or go without. We went without a stove. This stove, we went without a stove for 6 months. I was cooking for my family in a little toaster oven, and I was cooking on a little burners on the stove for 6 months while we saved up and searched for a stove that was large that we could afford. So I really recommend getting the quality as often as you can and not wasting money on things that you don't really like or things that are going to go out of style quickly. Another thing I don't recommend getting is pre-made mixes, pre-made cake batter, pre-made pancake batter, and things like that. I think that if you're gluten-free, some of those things can have a place, because gluten-free cooking can be complicated. And if you've got kids in the house trying to learn how to cook, a gluten-free is just harder. And so I could see getting a gluten-free pancake mix or a waffle mix or a cake mix, and especially if you only got 1 or 2 people in the house that are gluten-free, I could see it for gluten-free. But for everything, it's more expensive and you can make your own much less. A little tip, when you make your pancake batter pre-made from scratch, add whey protein to it. It makes it so delicious. I don't recommend getting rice cookers for people that don't really eat rice very often. Okay, last one. I think it's the last one. Bulk big warehouse purchases if you're not actually going to use it. So we go to Costco, we buy bulk almost everything because we're a large family and we go through it all like water. But if you're not going to use something that you bought in a large bulk quantity, and if you have no way to preserve it, don't get it. If you have a way to preserve it, for example, let's say you want to buy 50 pounds of rice. Okay, that's not such a bad purchase. However, if you don't store it properly, it's not going to last. It's going to get bugs in it. So maybe you want to get a vacuum sealer. This is one of my little vacuum sealers. It ended up being a very smart buy because you can pop it onto the tops of mason jars and it will vacuum seal the jar for you and it will last longer. So unless you have a way to preserve big bulk buys, if you're not going to use it quickly, then just skip them. And I keep thinking of more things. So plastic bowls that are flimsy like this. Now they do have a place. We use these for produce when our garden is in full swing and we have tons of produce coming in. We don't have anything else to put it in. These things do come in handy. They also come in handy for scraps. I use these for scraps. This was like $1. It's a very cheap bowl. But to buy these as your main bowls for the whole kitchen, you're going to end up replacing them in no time. So you're way better off buying stainless steel. Get yourself some good stainless steel. This is a bowl I have had. I got this, I think, as a wedding present or before I got married or when I got married. I got this. So I've had this for over 22 years now and it's still as good as new. It's very scratched, but it's good as new. And these kinds of things, you'll just end up replacing like, you'll just end up going through them. And like I said, they do have a place. They do have a place because, for example, my kids are going to take this down. Well, not this because we don't feed raw potato peels to the chickens. But if this had regular scraps, my kids would take it down and they'd probably forget and leave it down. And they'd probably see a chicken out or something like that, or go to check eggs, set this down, and it might be left out there. So for things like that, you might want the plastic bowls, but not your everyday bowl. Another thing that you want to buy right the first time around are your skillets and your pans. So I have Caraway. I love my Caraway pans and I definitely recommend Caraway, but your cast iron pans they're gonna last forever. You will not have to replace these, especially if you take care of them. I cook mostly with cast iron and Caraway, but quality good pans that you're not going to have to be replacing all the time. keep going out and buying that Teflon crap because it's garbage, it's not good for you, and you're just gonna have to keep replacing it all the time. And I keep thinking of more. Colored dishes. Did you know that most of the colored dishes have lead in them? So if you're gonna get like the ceramic dishes, you wanna make sure you get white. But even the white ones, I think, have some lead in them. So if you go to the secondhand store and you're buying secondhand plate, you want to make sure they have a nice shine on them because that means the coating is still on them. But what I like to do is just get Corelle. I got Corelle at the secondhand store. And then beyond that, I'm pretty sure these are safe, but I've started just going to the Dollar Tree, literally Dollar Tree. And I stocked up on these clear bowls because I'm pretty sure these are safe. But don't get the ones that have the coloring at the Dollar Tree because they can have lead in them from what I have researched. And the reason I recommend these from the Dollar Tree is because they're safe from what I know. I could be wrong. You might have to research this, or they could end up putting something in them that is not safe, but I'm pretty sure that these are safe. The clear bowls, I'm not sure if you can even see it on camera, but they're just $1. I think these were $1.25. But yeah, you can't beat that, and they're pretty. They're pretty because they highlight the food. Sometimes when you're plating food or you're making a nice dinner setting, you can feel like your dishes kind of, maybe if they're too colorful, they take away from the food. But with things like this, it's all about the food and showcasing how pretty the food is. So that's another thing I like about these. If you are new to this channel, or if you are semi-new to this channel, then you have not seen my first videos and the kitchen that we used to have when I started this channel. So a few years ago, 6 years ago exactly, I started this channel and started posting here, and we had a different home at that time. It had the tiniest little kitchen. It was seriously just a little U, and I practically had to levitate like the large cookie sheets and the large bowls like this. Like these large bowls, there wasn't even a place to put things like this in that kitchen. There was no cupboard space big enough for the large bowls, and as a family of 8, we need the big stuff. One of the reasons I was excited to move to this home was because of the kitchen size. The kitchen here is massive, but for about 17 years of starting my family, cooking for my family, I had challenging kitchens, very challenging kitchens. And I've always pretty much been a from scratch cook. So through all of those years, I've been a homemaker or building homemaking skills for 33 years now, by the way.
Let me know in the comments section what was your favorite tip from this video, and if you have some tips for how to save money in the kitchen and things that you just really found that you don't need, share in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you.